Yo, what's going on, homies? It's your boy Sam back for the OPTC video, and in today's video we're diving into the Super Boss Pirate Alliance Kizuna Clash against Mihawk Perona with some more of the boosted base characters. So if you did some summons on Treasure Map Ace, got very lucky like I did, and then did some summons over on the Crocodile and Robin batch, managed to pick them up as well. Today we're going to be building some teams that utilize the 11th anniversary characters and those characters to try and build some like maximum damage base teams. And honestly, like, look, if you have these characters, awesome, but like, both of them just suffer so heavily from the tag system, and I feel like that's probably going to be a subject for another video. I might sort of just like go through all my tickets and just have a chat about it, because the last month we've had characters that are trying to boost so many different tags that just don't co-align. We've had the Nami and Yamato Otama, the Yamato and Otama batch, which are built up around like waifu characters. Then we moved into Treasure Map Ace, which is built up on waifu pirates, who doesn't link with the Rocks Pirates. It still has great synergy, don't get me wrong, but the Rocks not having the YP Pirates tag does make it a little bit more challenging. And then we move into this Kizuna, which is based around Baroque Works and the Seven Warlords. So very weird stuff going on right now. And look, everything's Striker-centric, which obviously Strikers getting more buffs is nice, but trying to fit all these characters onto the same team with having the tags in mind is making things very, very convoluted. But look, I am open to the challenge. I did say this when the tag system came out. It would just open the door to so many different ideas when it came to team building, and helps us build a variety of different teams to help take down particular content. Now remember, this is a Super Boss. We are targeting the 15-star event, so you will see some pretty illustrious characters, as I mentioned. Starting off, we have the Dex Super Boss. Strength signing characters get the good stuff, and basically this fight is built up around the Rocks Pirates and the new Treasure Map Ace. Like, if you have the two of them, you're going to be like off to the races, just like I did in my no new batch sort of teams. Go check that video out if you guys are struggling, because you should be able to put together something pretty fun if you guys did some summons on the 11th anniversary. But if you have like the hybrid combination of Ace and the Rocks Pirates, you are going to be in for a good time. Obviously bringing Roger Command and all that sort of stuff is definitely going to help out as well. But on Battle 2, there's Pain. Bottom right gets Silence, so basically you just lose that character. It sucks, because like I said, you need to like funnel into the tag system, have certain characters for EXs, and then also find a way to remove Silence on a full strike team. It's just not there. 7 turns of damage reduction, normal attacks only, and then there's an interrupt if you do any Brook shenanigans. On defeat, enemy gets a full pay HP recovery and 10% HP cut, and then you get a whole bunch of bad stuff if you pass the turn. On the final stage, Mihawk and Perona have all the blowaway stuff, and they're immune to strikers. They're weak to strikers. Their immunity is for poison, everything except poison and increased damage taken. Normal attacks only, defense up. What's it called? Dex super type. A intimidation against attack, type effects, base attack boost, territory, slot bind, burn, chain multiply growth rate, and an attack down if you blow a 3.5 times chain. Again, more Brook shenanigans, and after one turn you get paralyzed and bind. If you're below 99% HP as well, which you will because you get 10% HP cut unless you overheal, you have to deal with 2 turns of damage null as well as despair. So team we put together looks a little bit like this. We are running a Roger as our friend captain. Roger is just like exceptional as a friend captain for this particular fight. You can run them as your own captain, to be honest, if you guys are missing like a Rush level 5 lore. But the idea is just to bring a Super Tandem level 5 Roger Leguan. Roger Leguan Super Tandem is just so damn strong at a 3 times multiplier, and first lore's been out for a little while, so I feel like a lot of people have this kind of setup rather than using Roger Leguan. Plus, lore has access to the Beppo support, which is very, very handy, which we'll talk about in a second. But on turn 2, you get a bunch of damage reduction, and having the Rocks Pirates as your captain here is definitely the play for that. But for myself, I'm actually just going to try and burst through it. Usually utilizing a special on turn 2 is like not the play for Super Boss, but it's still something that you definitely can do. The other option is to utilize the EX of Roger Gaban on that turn as well, and try and just get a little bit more damage output just by purely utilizing an EX special. Other than that, like I said, we are just going to do our best sort of burst through it. If it doesn't pan out that way, we're going to have to sort of shift here, and then we're just going to have to put on a whole bunch of despair removing supports, which looks definitely doable. We definitely can throw some on. Law obviously has Corazon. We have the Otama Kizuna Legend for the Rocks Pirates, and then Ace has Sabo. So we definitely have options when it comes to that, but obviously we are going to lose out a little bit of damage because of the supports that we have for the extra stuff that you see here. But it's only the end of the world if we don't have that. Like I said, But moving to the final stage, stage 2, there is silence as well. So the bottom right-hand character, which for this team is Yamato and Momo, you just lose this character. And the only reason I've selected Yamato and Momo is because it's a Yamato, so it goes into the Ace final tap. Again, finding it really hard to find characters to fit on this team, as well as having these really fun crewmate abilities that gives a plus 0.1 to the chain multiplier growth rate and a 3% resistance if you tap with a Wano slot for strikers and slashers, which very, very handy. And then another crewmate ability that gives an attack boost at 60. It also makes the character slot 1 at the start of the quest, but because we're trying to burst the turn, we are probably going to need that Wano slot to hit very, very hard. So that's kind of the play there. On the final stage, Law's going to remove the Despair with his Captain ability, which is very, very handy. And then we have a bunch of different shenanigans going on here. So we have Roger Gaban, who can give us a 2-turn color affinity boost. We can basically pop them straight away, but you can also switch into Crocodile and Robin first to extend that as well. So ideally, captainship with Crocodile, Robin, make them your captain, and then you can use the special of Ace and Roger Gaban to extend that attack and color affinity boost. So you get at least 2 turns for each of those. Then Ace can get cooldowns with his Sailor ability, which is very, very handy. Up to 2 times when a captain uses the special, you get 2 turns of cooldown. So now we're planning on sort of using the Robin and Crocodile special. Because you have color affinity, you're going to get chain boundary. You can activate their EX, or their super type. Super type? I believe it's super type. It's probably, I think it's super type for whichever type you are. Yeah, so ideally we're gonna be Crocodile, so I need to change that. We're gonna be Crocodile, so we get a Strength super type as well, which is nice. And then we can sub out of the Captain, which will go back into Law. We can then use the rocks. Well, actually no, sorry. Does Law extend the type effects boost? Maybe Law does. Yeah, Law extends the attack boost, but that doesn't actually matter. It's... Oh. So Crocodile and Robin, they actually extend the Orb effect boost and the type effect boost. And they also add 0.2 to it, 0.25 to it. So, apologies, you want to use the Rocks Pirates underneath that as well. So that way you get the bigger Orb boost too as well. So that's always fun. Then you can swap out of them as captain and then use the Law special. Law can captain swap the Rocks Pirates back in, and then you can use the Rocks Pirate special again. You'll have the A special back ready to go because you're getting all this cooldown as well. He gives himself 2 turns of cooldown, 13 turns of cooldown, and then he gives himself 2 turns of cooldown, and then 2 turns of cooldown with his Sailor ability. So as long as 2 captains, which you can do very easily with Law, use specials, you can actually get that cooldown back. And then you can just Ace again for a Strength territory. Again, Momo and Yamato literally are not doing anything on this particular team. You could probably use them turn 1, if I'm being honest. They just do like a heal, which doesn't really change too much. And they apply increased damage taken, which again doesn't really help all that much. Law also sets defense to 0, which is great. Obviously, Robin and Crocodile are going to remove it, but like Law just sets defense to 0, which is awesome. So that's the team for this fight. Works very well. But the big issue is going to be the damage reduction on turn 2. But again, not that big of an issue if we just sort of do that. It just means that we're going to get the double special of Law rather than getting like the double special activation of the Rocks Pirates. But in saying that too, like Law is actually a what's it called? Law can be an orb booster, provided you already have an attack boost. But I believe you need the final tap buff for that to actually work. Otherwise, it becomes a 1-turn buff, which is a little bit annoying. But then again, you just get like Law technically gets a pseudo double special activation. So like you just lose the first orb boost, and then you would swap into captain, and then you would get some final tap shenaniganry going, and then you'd use the Law special again to get the 2-turn orb boost. So yeah, you guys can do some fun stuff there. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to try and tap through it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You guys will see it in the playthrough video anyway. But moving on to the next fight, though, we have the Sai Super Boss. And against Sai, Slasher, Striker's Pass, get all the good stuff. This one's really annoying because they really want you to use the Rocks Pirates, and they also want you to use Saturn because they give you like 3 turns of cooldown. They also want you to use Roger Caban, so trying to fit all 3 of them on the team can be a little bit challenging. Normal attacks only, 1 turn of all type orbs doing 90% less damage, and then a damage limiter of 99%. Very annoying stuff. If you remove normal attacks only, the Brook shenanigans happen. On defeat, the HP recovery and retreat, and then after 1 turn, there's defense up, hunger, and slot bind. After 2 turns, you just get all the bad stuff, so don't do that. Like I said, there is a world that you could just take a turn here, but if you use Roger Caban as captain, you can just remove this, which is really, really nice. On the final stage, Mihawk Perona have the blow away shenanigans and are weak to strikers. They are immune to everything except poison, increased damage taken, normal attacks only, damage reduction, threshold, side type, super type, slot effect and base attack, intimidation, territory, and then 2 turns of special reverse on the entire crew. Brook shenanigans, and then if you remove the damage reduction, you get paralysis and an attack down below a certain chain. And then if you remove the damage reduction, the threshold, you get attack down and chain multiply growth rate. Also, if you apply increased damage taken, there is a red Haki, special bind, and increased damage taken. After 1 turn, you have to deal with some block rolls, which is not too challenging. So this is the team we're rocking. We are using Saturn as a friend captain because I do want to try and find a very high level Saturn rush. But if you guys don't have Roger Caban at such a high level, you could probably swap those 2 around. The upside to the way I'm doing this is I have the Mihawk support, so that way we can get the Roger Caban special back before using the special of Ace and Yamato. And the reason for that is we want to get the color affinity of Roger Caban, and then we want the chain boundary of Crocodile and Robin. So that's pretty much the big importance there. But what we're going to do here is on stage 2, which can use the EX of Roger Caban, and then we can just burst a turn. Should be able to kill there fairly simply. I don't imagine there too many issues. On to the final stage, we are going to use the captain shift of Crocodile and Robin first. They're going to go into our captain slot, and remember, when they are captain, they can extend the color affinity and the orb boost. So the intimidation is for orb boosts for this particular fight. So the idea here is that we want to, as the Robin and Crocodile captain, we want to use this special of the Roger Caban, and then we also want to use the special of the Rocks Pirates. So that way we get the extending of the color affinity and we get the extending of the orb boost. However, we do need 2 turns of cooldown on the Rocks Pirates, so we do need to use Ace Yamato first. So Ace Yamato are going to go. They'll give an attack boost. They'll also give chain boundary, and they'll also give the conditional buff. So that's always going to be nice. But the upside too is they give the 2 turn attack boost too. The big problem though is that you kind of don't really want their attack boost because it's quite low. So that's why we're using Saturn as a friend captain. Saturn is going to use his special, going to override the attack boost. We have a cost of 492. So we are getting the lower end of his attack boost, but look, he still is going to increase it. Unfortunately, it's a little bit hard with Saturn because like he can increase the orb buff, but you do want to make sure that you have already used the Robin and Crocodile special as captain. And there's just a whole bunch of shenanigans going on here. So it's going to take a little while for the playthrough to sort of work itself out. But the way that I sort of see it right now is Roger Caban EX on turn 2. Stage 3, we're going to captain shift with Crocodile and Robin. Then we can use the Roger Caban special. We can use the Robin and Crocodile special. We can then super swap with Ace and Yamato. Use the Ace Yamato special. Use the Rocks Pirates special. Then we can use the Saturn special. And now I'm looking at it, that's actually not going to work because you need that paralysis removal on the timer. However, we can easily fix it like that. So you're going to use the rock special, then Saturn's going to increase the orb buff. He's going to add to the attack boost. And then we can use Law to swap Rocks into Captain, give them the coolback, down back, use the set target ability. And then because he gives you the overheal mechanic, which you already actually have with the support now I'm thinking about it. But because he gives you the overheal mechanic, you can then apply the EX of Saturn and the Rocks Pirates. So you are going to get paralyzed because of removing the damage reduction. Law's versatility is going to take care of that. And as you can see here, we have the orb blocking, so we have Semler slots on our left-hand side. And because you can do a Super Tandem with Semler orbs on the second turn, we can still get that, well, we should still be able to get that Super Tandem off. I think we have to do something like this. That. We have to do something like that. So that's the team there. Like I said, it's going to be very confusing, very convoluted stuff. But don't stress. I always like to put out playthrough videos for this type of stuff. So bell notification. So you don't miss out on any of the content. But way down the bell, like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Let's